Alright, good morning everybody. So I'm down here on the new tract of timber that we're starting to cut. This will be the heel tract, and that's heel as in the last name, not a heel. Anyway, this ground down here is actually quite different from a hill. It's actually kind of lowland areas, if y'all can see out through there, kind of how it's got some underbrush in it. And this area actually will set in water during the winter months. So this is going to be one of them jobs we're going to have to be kind of prompt on. I'm going to show you all around right quick and kind of give you a cutting plan. I'll put a map up on the screen where y'all can kind of get an idea of how we're going to cut it. It's about 7 acres right here on this little spot, and right out there is Interstate 24. I mean, it's just right through on the other side of that fence line. So we're going to have a lot of car traffic in these videos as they come out. But I'm going to turn the camera around here, y'all, where I can kind of give you an idea how I'm going to start cutting. And then we're going to do just a little bit of cutting this morning. And I'll kind of go through some more things on what I do as far as cutting the timber. Okay, so I've got all my stuff packed in on the skid steer. I'll just give y'all an idea. Y'all probably seen this before, but just to give you an idea, I've got Betsy and Tiffany, my 2 saws, with me this morning. Gas jugs, water, tool bag, all that good stuff. And we've got a road back in here. We just sort of, and I'll show y'all more about this road in a minute. But I just kind of cleaned some brush out and come in here. I didn't do no dirt work much because I didn't want to, see all these roots. The root system, y'all, will help hold you up. No more ground pressure than what we put, on the ground with the mules, like with the wagon and the log cart. The ground will hold you up better if you don't do very much disturbance. But as you can see in here, there's a lot of young trees growing, and we don't want to disturb that no more than we have to. And this tree right here will be one of the smaller ones that we're going to take. It's a pin oak, and there's quite a bit of pin oaks down here on this. Some people call them water oaks. There's quite a bit of pin oak on this place just because of it being a lowland. I mean, you can see the leaves there, how they look. This is, I don't know if y'all can make it out, but like, right down in here, this is where water has stood during the winter. And these water oaks, or pin oaks, you see the way it's got them big root flares? That's real evident of a water oak. And then, or a pin oak, either way, whatever you want to call it. But in a little while, I'll show y'all some leaves on it. The leaves are real fine, real sharp pointed, like kind of like pins. And I think that's partly where it got its name from. But anyway, I don't want to get y'all drunk here swinging around, but we've got that one pin oak right there, and then we've got another pin oak right here that's marked in blue. And you can see this is not going to be a clear cut job. This is just a thinning job. And basically what we've kind of decided on, he sort of left it up to me to do it the way I wanted to. But we're looking at 20 inches diameter breast height and up. If it's not 20 inches, then we're going to leave it. And there's a couple of them in here. Here's one big pin oak right there that we got marked, and it's a big one. Let me see if I can zoom in up there and get y'all some ideas on the leaves. Maybe not. But anyway, I'll show y'all that a little more here in a little bit. But this is our road. This is our main skid road that I pushed in here, or cleaned up, to get us back to the back corner. Here's a dead tree. It's a coal. Y'all can look up there and see it's already dying. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it, and that's why it's got an X marked on it. X marked for coal. And here's another one that's dead, and it's probably not gonna make anything. It looks like it's been hit by lightning. You can see right up there, the bark's blowed off of it. So right in here is the wettest area, and this is probably where most of the better trees are. There's a big sycamore tree right there on the left side of the road. Here's a big pin oak, and maybe in a little while when I get one cut down, I'll show y'all the leaves on it. But again, a lot of the evidence is by the big root flares. Most of these trees that grow in these wet places will have big root flares. And in these wet areas, you can bank on species like sweet gum, black gum, pin oak, sycamore, you know, that type of hardwood timber. And a lot of times in these bottoms like this, you know, in these flat spots where it stays wet, the trees will get big because they, you know, they've got a lot of moisture. But I just want to give y'all an idea here of what we're doing, and let you see some of the ones we got marked, like right out through here. You know, we've got a few that are marked, but I also wanted y'all to pay attention to what we're leaving. You know, like right here, we're taking this one, leaving them two. Here's one here that's marked for coal, and one behind it, and we're just taking that one behind it for thinning purposes. I don't even think it made the diameter measurement, but there were several trees around it and it needed to be cut. So I just kind of want to give you a quick little tour of it, of what we're going to do and how we're going to get started. And as I start cutting, I'm not going to try to make the video extra long today. I just kind of want to give you all an idea of how I get started. And once we get some timber laid down, I'll start coming in with the mules, and probably back here at the back, we'll wagon some of it. These skids is not going to be very long. This is, like I said, a smaller tract of timber, and we could log cart most of it. Now, I'm just going to tell you, some of these trees is too big for my 2 mules. Now, if I already had my colts going, it wouldn't be a big deal. I'll just put 4 on it, and this would be a good place to work 4 mules. So, with that being said, though, I'm going to wagon some of it because these logs would just be too big and heavy for a pair of mules to handle by themselves. And I don't have no pride, y'all. I know what me and my mules can do, and I'm not going to go out here and overload them and ask them to do more than what they can do. So, oh, one other thing I was going to tell y'all, we've got an opportunity to send some smaller timber for pallet. So any of this smaller stuff that I have to cut out of the way for these big ones to fall, our pallet mill will take anything down to 8 inches long as it's fairly straight. So I can send some of that stuff for pallet. So we're gonna have a pallet pile to sort pallet out. Our grade logs are gonna go to town to one of the sawmills, and we'll try to cut them like 10s and 12 footers. The real clean stuff. I'm not going to send anything that makes a number 1, because a number 1 red oak in this area, it pays as much as a tie does. So if you're going to send it for grade, it needs to be, you know, prime grade, and we'll try to cut them like 12 foot, 10 and 12 foot, and then the other stuff will be pallet and tie material. This job will have a good bit of tie and pallet material on it. A lot of the butt cuts out of these pin oaks will go for red oak grade, because pin oak is a species of red oak. So we'll cut them out and send them to town for grade, and then the upper cuts we'll send for tie material. The stuff that is too rough or too small for tie, we'll send for pallet wood. And then trees like this right here, just say for instance, you know, this little guy is a hackberry. Just say he got in the way and we need to cut him out of our way to let one of these bigger ones fall. That's whenever we'll send him for pallet, and we can cut them 12 and 14 foot. And what I'll do is I'll just work me up a pallet pile, you know, this smaller stuff. I'll put on my pallet in one pile and just kind of work it up a little at a time. And when I get enough to haul it, I'll haul it. So that's going to help minimize some of the waste. I hate it as much as anybody does, so that'll help minimize some of the waste on this job and help market our timber a little bit better. So anyway, let me get my saws gassed up and adjusted and all that good mess, and get everything set up, and I'll take y'all along with me. Y'all, we got this little maple here, silver maple, marked for cutting, and I'm gonna try to get it to go right down in there. That seems to be the least amount of damage right down in there. I've got to go in there and clear out a few of these trees and make us a little landing zone, and like that bigger one yonder and that one over there, we'll be able to make pallet out of it, so it won't be a complete waste in tearing it up. So let's get after it. All right, now that little one there is hung up, I'll come back later with a skid steer and get it down. And I went ahead and topped this one so that way we can just drag the whole thing out whenever it's time. Alright, now I will say this maple might have a little back lean to it, so we may have to come in here with a skid steer and push it. Or in the very least, use a wedge. But anyway, right down in that hole is where we want it to go. And y'all, while we're here, stuff like this right here is splitting up the side. It started falling before I could get it cut off on this side. That's why you don't chase cut in hardwood timber. That's why you bore cut and come out the back. Sometimes it works all right and you get by, but a lot of times it don't, and it does stuff like this. Luckily, I stayed with it. I got it cut most off. It just tore out a little bit on the side. It ain't a big deal because the swell is down here in the butt end anyway. So, I mean, it is a big deal, don't get me wrong. You don't want to do this. You don't want this to happen no more than you can help it. But it could have been worse, let's just say it that way. So I'm gonna clean this butt up on this one. I'm gonna take them flares out, clean them flares out, and then I'm gonna buck this one into logs. And see, like it's split right there. I'll have to cut it off back here at the split. Some of that straighter top will make pallet wood, so we'll use it for pallet. Now y'all, I just got through with that little maple there that we just cut. I just got through bucking it up, and I was contemplating, there's a big pin oak right over there that needs to go, and here's a big sweet gum that needs to go, but I'm gonna wait on them for right now. And the reason why is because both of them could go right over into that hole. I can clear this little bit of stuff right in here. It won't be very much to clear, and I can drop that sweet gum in there first, get the logs out of it, come back another day, drop that big pin oak in there, and then get the logs out of it. So we don't want to get a jumbled up mess. I mean, if I were to fall that sweet gum in there right now, we would have a hard time getting our logs out, if that makes any sense. So let's just wait on that for a while, and we'll go over here and pick us another tree, because we ain't got quite a load yet, and I don't have the mules with me. I'll bring them back later. And I usually don't bring the mules whenever I'm cutting timber, because usually I cut one day and then I skid a day, if that makes any sense. But we've got some in here, you know, in this little area that we can cut. So I'm gonna pick one or two out that'll be out of the way and go ahead and cut them, and that'll make us up a load for when we bring the mules in. And then once we get all this timber down or out that we've got down, then we'll ease back and cut a couple more, cutting our way out, because back there is where we started at. Right over there is the skid steer. It's sitting in the road, and back out that way is where the field's at, where we're going to be decking our logs. And that's also the direction we want to cut. That direction, you know, you see that tree with a blue mark, one over there, and up all the way up through there I got trees marked. So we want to work back out that way, so we're not having to come through so many tops. And at this point, you know, we've got most of the timber back here in this corner. We've got most of that timber cut, which ain't much, but we've got it cut, got it bucked up, and it's ready to come out. And again, like that big sweet gum and then that one big pin oak, it's ready to go. Them will be the next two in line in this part of the section of timber to be cut. But we want to get that timber that we already got cut, we want to get it up first, because it'll just make it a whole lot easier on me and the mules both. All right, y'all, I kind of wanted to show you the finished product on these two trees that we cut already this morning. It took me a little bit to get them down, because naturally they hung up. When you first opening up a place, that happens. And only damage we really got is just that one snag hanging out of that gum tree there. But I think it'll be all right. Still be in pretty good shape to leave it. If it weren't, we'd go ahead and take it, and then that way it wouldn't be a total waste, because that's a pretty decent tree there, and in a few more years it'll be a real good tree. But anyway, this is a pin oak, and I'm going to show you all these leaves on it so y'all can get an idea of what pin oak leaves look like. Okay, so you see there's my hand behind it. You see how those are clustered together? They're just little pin-like leaves, and that's how you can pick out a pin oak. Like I say, now this is a subspecies of red oak, and when we get around here to the butt, you'll see what I'm saying, what I mean about that. There's several species of red oak and several species of white oak. This is just one of the species of red oak, and it's got more of a pink type wood. And then of course your sapwood on the outside, you know, like I said, it's got them root flares. As it goes further up the log, the sapwood will get narrower just because of the, you know, this base being so big. But what I'll do, just to give you an idea of what I'm going to do with this tree, you know, it's clean. There's no knots, not that I can see. Y'all can kind of see with me. Your first knot is right up there. See it? Right there. So, well, hang on a minute. Hold on a minute. This is stuff you'll miss if you ain't careful. See this little cat face? That'll be your first defect. So, from down there at that butt up to this cat face, I should be able to get at least a 12-footer. Okay? And then from there on up will be tie timber. So we'll separate out that 12-footer and put it in the grade pile to go to town, because it's a 4 clean face, 12-foot log. It'll bring red oak grade. Okay, here's a ugly specimen of a stump that I butchered, but it is what it is. This is one I had trouble getting cut off. And the main thing is this big old flares. These flares will throw you for a loop if you ain't careful. But I'm gonna have to come in and trim them off, you know, get all that mess off and clean the butt up. But let's just go down this and see how it'll do. It's a big log. It's gonna be good size. And for the mill for you to qualify for prime, it has to be over 10 foot long and over 18 inches in diameter on the small end. So this will be over 18. That one over there, the one we just come from, it'll be over 18 too, I do believe. But up to this first limb, you know, I could get well, here we go again. Here's a cat face. See that cat face right there? That's where a limb that was on this tree when it was young fell off. I'm just looking, trying to find any more defects here. I don't see any. That don't mean there's not one there. But I think y'all got the idea of what I'm trying to do here. How I butt my logs. I'll go up at that butt log and find out where the first defect is, and whatever log length size, 10, 12, 14, whatever, that's where I'll cut it off at. And we're hoping for 12, because 12 stacks up footage on a log truck real good. Now y'all, I hope this gives you a little better idea of how I go about marketing my logs. Like I said, we're gonna have grade red oak on this job. It's gonna go in its own pile. It needs to be over 18 inches in diameter, preferably 12 foot long, but at least 10. And then the next grade down is gonna be tie grade logs, which will be, you know, like what I showed y'all a while ago, the uppercuts. And then after you tie comes your pallet material. Now there was one, let's see, it's a hickory. Where's that? Right there. See that one? I notched it and cut it so this big pin oak could fall onto it without busting it. And we'll take that whole hickory tree right there, tree length. I'll top it at the first limb up there where it starts getting limby, and we'll drag the whole thing out and use it for pallet wood. And some of these tops, like in that big pin oak, if some of the top is real dirty, I'll take it and use it for pallet wood too. So we're gonna try to maximize, you know, the usage of our timber and get the best out of it that we can. You know, we got this one here already cut this morning and that other big pin oak. And I'm not gonna waste a bunch of y'all's time. I just kind of wanted to, you know, let you see a little timber cutting and you know, go into some bucking and grading and how I'm gonna market the logs and sort them out and whatnot. And you know, you kind of have to, you got to study your markets and know what's bringing what in order to market them effectively. Some mills will be paying higher, you know, paying more money for grade, where some mills will pay a little bit more for pallet and tie. So it pays to shop around sometimes just a little bit and try to find the best market, you know, for your stuff. It's like anything else that you're selling or growing. You know, for you farmers, you know, sometimes you kind of have to look around. The timber business right now, timber's down a little bit, well, quite a bit actually. People got used to the COVID prices, and now that timbers went back down, it's hurting a lot of people for sure. Especially the ones that went out and bought newer equipment and stuff like that. Anyway, I hope this enlightens you a little bit, and maybe you learned a little something and just enjoyed hanging out. And hey, look, if y'all don't enjoy the chainsawing and the skid steer stuff and the mules and all that kind of mess, I just hope you enjoy hanging out with me and having a good time and being here with us. And look, as always, y'all, I'm gonna put my email up here on the screen. If you need me, you get a hold of me. We'll talk, whatever. And always, y'all, whether I tell you or whether I don't, I'm gonna be praying for each one of you that's hearing my voice right now. That's how important y'all are to me. Thank you for all the lovely comments and suggestions. And some people just talk in the comments just to, you know, tell me about some things that they did when they were younger. And maybe some of you were loggers and whatnot, and you just enjoy being here, you miss it, and you just enjoy hanging out with me. That's cool too. I love each and every one of you. I pray that the good Lord blesses you, and I'll see you next time.